Soar Without Limits Enterprises presents the Triple E Podcast, a show dedicated to empowering women to elevate, expand, and explore their mindsets. I am your host, Monique Pearson, best-selling author, mindset coach, international speaker, and travelologist. Are you ready to transform your life? Join us monthly for inspiring stories and actionable tips so that you can soar without limits. Well, hello, everyone. For those who may not be familiar with me, I am Monique Pearson. I am the host of the Triple E Podcast, where we help you to elevate, expand, and explore your mindset. And we have another awesome, great guest that is going to be coming before you and sharing. So let me go ahead and introduce you to her and bring her before the stage. And I'm going to go ahead and read her bio so you can know who we're going to be speaking with today. So today we have Lisa Anderson, who is a Chief HR Officer, CHRO, for a technology company and the president of Positively in Pursuit, LLC. She is a certified leadership career coach who also has 25 years of HR experience. Her coaching business focuses on women in leadership who want to intentionally work on finding their leadership voice, building their leadership courage, and increasing their leadership presence so that they can propel their careers. Her book, Invisible Professional to Influential Leader, is a leadership tip book for women leaders who want to lead confidently and authentically. Lisa holds a master's in human resource management for Troy State University and a BBA, Bachelor's of Business Administration degree from James Madison University. She holds several HR certifications. She is a certified professional coach, CPC, certified in energy leadership, and a member of the John Maxwell team of speakers and trainers. So without further ado, I am going to bring Lisa up to the stage. Hey, Lisa, how are you this evening?
Hey, Monique, I'm great. How are you?
Wonderful. So happy that you can join us here on the Triple E and help, because that's definitely what we're looking for as far as to help these women to be able to propel to the next level. And I'm sure that you're going to have some good nuggets to share with them as to how they may go about and be able to do that.
Yes, and I'm super excited to be here.
And we are excited to have you. So, one thing that caught my attention in your bio that I'm not familiar with, and maybe might have caught the attention of some of my listeners as well. What is that when you said that you're certified in energy leadership? Can you expound on that? What does that mean? And what does that entail?
Absolutely. So, energy leadership is all about how you show up. So, whether it's how
Mm-hmm.
you show up in your personal life, how you showed up in the workplace, because all of us have energy. And so, what I do is being certified as an energy leadership practitioner. What we do is we analyze energy. And look, all of us have all kinds of energy, right? But it's so
Mm-hmm.
important to, realize what triggers certain energy levels. And so I love the work that I do around energy leadership because, whether we realize it or not, there are certain situations, there are certain people, there are certain events that trigger certain energy levels, and being aware of those triggers. I know for me personally, until
Mm-hmm.
when I got certified in this, I didn't realize what was going on. And then when stuff started happening, I was like, oh boy, I'm triggered and I'm at level 2. So what am I going to do?
So is it like a written test that you take to assess this? Is it body language? Is it a combination? Like, how do you assess
So
what
it's
your energy is?
so it is an online assessment, and you take
Mm-hmm.
the assessment. The assessment takes no more than 10 or 15 minutes. And then
Okay.
you get your results. And
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a practitioner, I set up an appointment with you called a debrief, and we
Mm-hmm.
actually go through each energy level and what is happening at the different levels. And since I'm
Mm,
a leadership coach, a leadership coach for women and an executive coach, I take that even a step further and put it into the workplace. So,
mhm,
in other words, if you're dealing with a manager or a leader, or you may be a leader or manager that exhibits level one energy, this is what's going on. And it's so interesting because when I do this with my clients, they're like, whoa. My manager's a level one energy person. They're dominant
okay.
level
So
of
level
energy.
one, can you tell us what that means? Because I'm definitely not familiar, like
Yeah,
what
so
the
level one energy is what we call catastrophic energy, and that is the energy that is the most draining level of energy. And look, all of us have
Mm,
it. You know,
mm,
there's 7 levels of
mhm,
energy, and all of us have all 7 levels, right? But the pivotal piece with energy is, especially the lower levels of energy like level 1 and level 2, you do not want to stay in those energy levels for long periods of time because they
mhm,
can be detrimental, right, to you, your mental health, all those kinds of things. But absolutely, you might get in a situation where you're triggered and your energy level goes right to level 1, and you
okay.
get to decide how long you stay at that level 1 energy. And we always
Mm,
talk about what we call thoughts, actions, and feelings. So it could
mhm,
be a thought that, you go to level 1 energy. It could be an action, the way you behave, or it
right.
could be a feeling. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling a certain kind of way, and now I'm at level 1, right? And I, with my clients, I'm like, look, this is life, right? You're going to go through the ups and downs. So give yourself permission to acknowledge the level 1 energy, and then you get to decide when you get to shift. But the beautiful thing about it is there is a shift, and you
Mm,
can shift out of that instead of staying at that level 1 energy for long periods of time. So the good news when I do this debrief, I love it because level 1 and 2 is what we call catabolic energy. But guess what?
mhm,
That is the draining energy. Level 3 through level 7 is anabolic energy. That is the energy that's around healing and growing and, productivity and positivity and joy. So I'm like, look, there's like 5 other levels of energy that you could be tapping into. And when
right.
life throws us that curveball, yes, we're gonna go into level 1 and level 2, but we get to decide how long we stay in that level. So it's
Mm,
very interesting. And I see women, the light bulb comes on when,
uh-huh.
when we go through the debrief, and they're like, whoa, I now have language to use when I feel this way or whether I'm thinking this way
Mhm,
now, and I'm now aware of what kind of a situation can trigger me to take me there. And everybody's triggers are different, right? It depends on how we grew up, what kind of experiences that we've had. So everybody has different triggers. And it's
right.
like, whoa, I could see the light bulb, and I'm like, okay, now that kind of situation will trigger you. So now you get to decide how you respond to the person, the situation, whatever it is. And so,
Mhm,
it gives women or anybody that goes through the assessment, it gives you that language to use and to know the awareness to be able to shift your energy. So
well,
I
I definitely
absolutely
can
love
see
it.
the value for it for those in leadership because we are setting the tone for that office, that cubicle, and far as everything rolls downward. So if your leader is not able to be self-reflective and have an understanding and awareness of their emotions, their feelings, and your people are going to feel like they're on eggshells tiptoeing around you. So I definitely can see the value added. So Lisa, I'm sure there are many who are intrigued and maybe interested in getting this assessment done. How do they go about contacting you for more information?
Yes, actually, I am going to give away a freebie, and it's called it's a. I have a what I call a triple freebie. So it's 3 freebies. And I'll
Oh,
make sure you
we
get
love
that,
free over
Monique.
here.
Yeah. So
We
it
love
is
free.
a career roadmap where you can see
Mm-hmm.
where you are in your career and, what's next. What is the next? Because
Okay.
I always ask my women, like, all right, what are you doing in the career? Do you have
Right.
goals? Do you have a plan? Like, what's going on? So I have a career roadmap. I have a values exercise because I do a lot of work around values. Like, what
Mm-hmm.
are your top 5 values? Because believe it or not, those values are what's showing up for you in the
Right.
workplace. And then
Mm.
the third freebie is a leadership or brand checklist. So I do a lot of work with women about their brand. What's your brand? And that's look,
Mm.
I do a lot of work with women who are not people leaders. And
Okay.
so they're like, "Oh, Lisa, I don't have a brand. What you talking about leadership brand? I don't manage people." And I'm like, You have a brand, a leadership brand or personal brand, whether you supervise or manage people or not. So, in
Mm-hmm.
other words, if you're an individual contributor or you are a subject matter expert in your field and you have no direct reports, you still
Mm-hmm.
got a brand. So,
Mm.
what are they saying about you when you're not in the room? Because that's a
Mm.
good indication of your brand.
Tell them,
So,
Lisa.
yeah, so we have that as the freebie. So once we'll give you the link for that, and then you'll end up on my email list, and then you can absolutely reach out to me and schedule a energy leadership assessment.
Wonderful. Well, thank you on behalf of the listeners for those goodies. I will make sure that I put them in the notes so you can touch base with Lisa. So, Lisa, what inspired you to pursue this career field or passion that you have? Because I can see it coming through as you're speaking about leadership and helping women in regards to this. How did you get here to Lisa that you are today?
Yeah, so in human resources, so I've been in HR. I hate to admit it and show my age, but cha. So I've been in been in HR for over 25 years, and I actually stumbled into human resources. Believe it or not, I started when I went to college many years ago. I was an accounting major.
Oh, really? That's a different shift.
Yes, and look, went through the first 2 years of undergrad and took my first accounting class. I think it was tax, and took the class. I think I was in it for 2 weeks.
You said this
I
ain't it,
was
huh?
immediately went to the advisor and was like, I think I done made a mistake because I
Mm,
just can't see myself doing this,
right.
for the rest of my life. And so by that time I was a junior. And so she was like, "Well, you trying to change your major?" And I said, "Yes. And the other caveat is we got to get me out in 4 years because my parents can't afford for me to go another year. So,
Mhm,
so we got to finish in the 4 years." So she said, "Okay, well, you're in the school of business. You've taken all those core classes. What other areas, you've had the finance, you've had, all the business stuff, marketing, all of that." She was like, "What other classes do you enjoy?" And I said,
mhm,
I really enjoy the management classes, dealing
right.
with the people. And she's like, "Okay, well, this is good because it's still in the school of business." And so she was like, "Okay, well, let's switch gears. Let's sign you up for some management classes, and we're going to do a couple of electives." And one of the electives that I signed up for was called back then personnel management. And I was
Mhm.
like, "What is that?" Okay, let's sign me up because I got to get this done. And when I got into personnel management, I was like, "Oh boy, this is it." So I was like,
Uh,
"I don't want to take the rest of the classes. I just want to do all the electives
right.
around this. Forget accounting, econ, forget all that stuff. I just want this." And so, back then it was you couldn't get a degree or the degree didn't exist in personnel or human resources. So I ended up getting the management degree, but
Mhm.
really like focus or having this very big desire to do the
Mm,
personnel piece. And that was my first exposure into doing HR. And so I
right.
graduated with the management degree, and my first job out of college, straight, I had a job before I graduated, was the management training program at Walmart.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Okay.
So
Wow. So everyone could be open to a U-turn, as far as in you may be U-turning into where you supposed to be all along. So that's an awesome story. If I was how you got started and at Wally World at all the
at
places.
Wally World. And let me tell you, that's a good first job, learning retail operations, being an assistant manager. And, Walmart at that time, and I'm sure they still do today, had an
Hmm.
excellent training program to help new managers. And
Hmm.
yeah, I started rotating around the store and learning retail operations. And again, when I got to personnel, I was like, "Ooh, I don't want to rotate. I want to stay right here."
Yeah,
And
right.
they
So
were
you made
like,
that.
"No, no, you can't do. You got to move unless you're gonna relocate to Bentonville, Arkansas, and work in headquarters at Walmart headquarters." And I was like, "Oh no, I'm not going to Arkansas, so we can't do that." So
Oh.
So yeah, it was an interesting, first step, just getting myself out there. But I tell all of my, especially my employees that are
Hmm.
young in their careers, I'm like, look, sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Sometimes you have to try it to know what you
Hmm.
like and what you don't like. And, if I had not fallen into, HR, I would not have had the career that I've had.
Right.
So,
And be
so
satisfied with it. So many of us are in careers that we absolutely, positively can't stand, and going to work probably on that one or two energy that you were referring to earlier. So I definitely get it. So you're speaking of those younger who are entering the workforce. What advice would you give to those who are younger, just getting started in their professional careers, as to how they can possibly elevate their professional lives? What are some tips or that you would share with them that you have found that work for you?
yeah, if you're just getting, I would say maybe in your first, let's just say 0 to 5 years
Mm-hmm.
of your career, right? And you're going into workplaces, you are new in workplaces, take the opportunity to observe, because every workplace is different, the culture is different, and
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of unwritten rules that go with each workplace. And
Right.
so just take some time to observe. Look, take the time and ask a lot of questions. And if you're with them, hopefully your manager is patient enough to want to work with you, train you, and really just take you under your wing. Now, if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have a manager that has the patience and the want to take you under the wing to help you grow and develop, there's still ways that you can do that. That just may mean you may need to find a mentor that's not your manager, or a mentor that's outside of the organization to help you grow and develop. It doesn't
Do you
always
know of
have to
any
be your manager.
organizations that they can possibly tap into for that mentorship?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Do you know of any organizations they can tap into for that outside mentorship if they can't find it in house at their current positions?
Yes. So the first thing I would say, especially if you are in a career field, reach
Mm-hmm.
out to the professional association that's a part of your career field. So, for example, I'm HR. We have professional association for HR, Society for Human Resource Management. We call it SHRM. And
Mm-hmm.
when I was young in my career, the first thing I did was reached out to SHRM, and they have local chapters
Mm,
in your area. And a lot of
right.
these professional associations have local chapters. Get
Mm,
engaged, because if you can get engaged at the local level, then you're going to
mm-hmm.
meet people that's in your profession. whatever it
Mm.
is, marketing, accounting, whatever it is, right? PMs, project management, all of that. So get connected with your local professional association and network, because a lot of those professional associations have mentoring programs for
Mm.
new professionals coming into the industry. So that's a great way to meet different people, meet new people doing the same thing that you're, doing.
Right.
They're not affiliated with your company or your organization, but there's a way for you to meet new people that are more seasoned. And a lot of
Hmm.
times those organizations have mentorship programs.
Yeah, they say network is your network. And it's a lot of times who
Absolutely.
you know and who you connected to that can get you in the doorways that you may not have otherwise been able to get into. So, yes, yes, yes. Y'all make sure y'all take that good tip away. So I'm thinking we've been talking about all the good that has happened in their career and far as life. There may be some people who are going through some things right now, whether it be personal or professional. Share a time with us when mental resilience has helped you to overcome significant challenges, because it may be able to help someone else that may be going through something right now.
Absolutely. And I'll share my biggest challenge that I had in my career. And some people may can resonate with it. Um,
Hmm.
I had this huge challenge in one point in my career where I started to feel invisible.
Mm. I know many can relate to that, especially women.
Yes, I was a lot of times in my career, because I am in the technology field doing
Hmm.
HR, right? In the technology field. So a lot of times I may have been the only woman. Um,
Right.
it's in certain rooms. And a lot of time I was the only person of color in the room.
Mm. Hmm.
And I went through this experience where I started all of a sudden, it came out of nowhere, because I can't remember, I can't put my finger on a particular incident that happened that brought up feelings, but all of a sudden I started sitting quiet in meetings,
Mm.
not contributing, not adding value. And let me just say, I had something to say, whatever that meeting topic was. I'm not, I'm invited in the meeting for a reason, right? I'm coming
Right.
in, I'm representing HR, and I lost my voice, and I would sit quiet, I wouldn't say a thing. And I would just, hear what was going on. And if anything, I was having the meeting in my head, and
Mm.
I wasn't saying anything.
Mm.
And so it went like that for a while, where I kept showing up at these meetings and not contributing and not adding value. And eventually, when you keep showing up like that, my colleagues, they started to ignore me, because they were
Right.
like, why is
What's she
she
here
here?
for? You
Yeah.
wallflower.
Yeah,
Right.
she's not contributing, she's not adding value. So they just, they started to ignore me. And then that made me feel even more invisible.
Mm.
So, and, when I was going through that, talking about mentally, I would beat myself up, get
Mm.
back to my, my office. And I was like, Lisa, what's going on? You had something to contribute. Why didn't you
Right.
speak up? you know and so I just went through that period where I just didn't feel confident. I was very uncomfortable sitting in meetings quiet, and just
Mm-hmm.
all the stuff, right? And I had to figure out how to shake out of that. And I didn't trust anyone inside my organization, so I did
Mm-hmm.
reach out to a mentor to help me that was outside of the
Right.
organization, just to say, I'm not sure what's happening or what's going on, but this is what's happening and this is how I'm feeling. And she was
Mm-hmm.
able to sort of walk me through, like, well, Lisa, this hasn't been behavior that you've done before. So what's going on? And then
Mm.
as I started to peel back the onion, I'm like, okay, well, number one, I'm new to this leadership team,
Mm-hmm.
and I have not taken the time to build the relationships, right?
Mm,
So everywhere that I've gone, I've been successful because of my ability to build relationships with colleagues and peers and up and down the
right.
organization, and I haven't done that. And so so that was a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went through this, do I really belong in the room? So the imposter syndrome
Strong.
came
Wow.
in, right? And I'm like, well, Lisa, you was put here. This ain't no mistake that you're in the
Yep.
room, right?
Correct.
And then I disconnected from my why.
Mm,
And when I disconnected from my why, that also contributed to why, why you sitting in the room. Because if you're connected to your why and
mm,
why you're there, there's no way you can sit there quiet. And
mm.
with me being in HR, I'm there for the people.
Right. So if you're being quiet, who's their voice?
Who's their voice and who's their advocate in that
Right.
room with
Mm,
leaders, right?
right.
So once I was like, wait a minute, this is not a mistake that you're here. So why have you been put here? And so
Mm,
once I could reconnect with the why, then I was able to show up in those meetings in a different way and full on. So much that the next meeting, the people in the room was like,
who
"Who
is
is
she?
this?"
Who this Harper? Who this woman? That's like.
Look,
But you said some powerful gems. One that stood out with me, you were having the boardroom in your head for us over analyzers, overthinkers, to the point that we have all the rebuttals up here versus putting them out there to the people who need to hear it. So that was powerful. What I heard you say, as far as to get out of your own head, to trust your instincts in yourself and shed the imposter syndrome, because we got those positions for a reason, because we're qualified, and to
yeah,
stop disqualifying yourself. Because I know a lot of us, especially our women who are in those male dominant industries, have self imposter syndrome at one point in time. Are we worthy? Do we deserve to
yes,
be there? Those questions. And I would like to say and resound Lisa's message that, ladies, yes, you are there. And to speak up and use your voice, because it needs to be heard. So, yes, thank you for sharing that, Lisa. That was good.
yeah. And now they can't shut me up, right? Like, I do a lot of work around leadership courage, right? Like you're
Mm-hmm.
you're sitting in these meetings and they all saying is red. And
Mm,
I'm sitting there like, I'm listening to all the things and I'm like, am I the only one that thinks it's blue? And
right.
then this is the conversation that's going on. And then everybody's like, oh yeah, it's red. We're going down the red road. And I'm sitting there like, am I in the twilight zone? Why do I think it's blue? And there's when I was going through this, I'm like, no, it's blue. But now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put this blue position on the table.
Mm,
Now, the decision may be still to go red, but y'all
right.
gonna hear my blue position.
Right. Sometimes you need an objective outside voice. I forgot what that terminology is when everyone comes together and the thought process, the
Yeah, group
thinking
think,
is the
group
thing. There
think.
you go. That's the
Yeah,
word I'm looking
everybody's
for.
getting on board, blah blah blah. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, but have we thought about this, and that? And and I don't want to come off as the Debbie Downer, or I sometimes I say, okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Let's flip this. But hey, the strength of the team is hearing all the perspectives, the
Right.
diversity of the perspectives. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna throw the blue out there, and here are I'm just not throwing it out there, but here are the reasons why A, B, C, and
Right.
D. And let's
Right.
consider that. Now, there may be a business reason why we still need to go red, but at least you heard my blue position.
Mm-hmm. Hear her roar, people. So, Lisa, what resource whether it be a book, a podcast, or words of wisdom that you have heard that has made a great impact on you.
Oh my goodness. A big impact for me. And I don't know, maybe some listeners can resonate with this, but I
Mhm.
am a self-admitted um overachiever. I don't know how you can, or in other words, I got to check the box.
I'm her. I can resonate.
Ooh, child. So I gotta, in order for me to think I'm making progress, I gotta be like, okay, we
Mhm.
gotta get this done. Check, check, check. And I had a coach challenge me, and
Mhm.
she said, Lisa, you're so busy checking the boxes that you're missing all of the juicy nuggets in the journey.
Being
Step
present.
stepped on all my toes. I was like,
Right. That is
she was
so
like,
true.
I'm just saying, you checking all your boxes.
Right.
She said, but what the journey to get through those check marks that you're checking off is where all the juicy, you're so focused on that goal, but
Mm.
all the juicy nuggets are in the journey. And that was a big aha moment for me because I never celebrated. I only celebrated when I checked the box. I never
Right.
celebrated the journey. So
Mm.
if I could, words of wisdom, I would
Right.
tell women who are, high achieving women, celebrate, don't skip the journey and celebrate what you may consider the
Right.
small wins. And
Mhm.
we won't allow ourselves to celebrate until we check the box.
Yeah.
And again, you're missing all the juicy nuggets in the journey.
Because typically when you check the box, you look already went on to the next box. So it's just
Mhm.
next to the next. And I
Right.
also heard the same thing, not being present in the moment. I think that's important that you are
Yes.
present as a part of that, each step of that process. So that's good. So as we are coming to a close,
Already?
what I know, right? I know it goes by so fast. Oh, what would you like to be known for? What would you like Lisa's legacy to be?
Yes. So what I would love for my legacy, for if anybody was to say, what was it about that Lisa girl, right? I would
Mm-hmm.
want people to say that, you know what, she was always there willing to help.
Mm,
And this is, whether it's professionally, whether it's personal, whether it's with my, my work community or with my family, like anytime that, you needed assistance, she
right.
would do her best to help. And and I guess this is what I call my passion work. I started my business, because I want to make sure that there's not another woman who, feels alone in her
Mm-hmm.
journey, because I felt that, coming up through the ranks,
Yes.
in my career. And that was the whole catalyst of, oh my gosh, I do not want another lady to feel that she has no one to turn to when it comes to work situations or frustrations or even
Mm-hmm.
just growing her career and what to,
Mm-hmm.
where should I move or how, how do I step, any of that. And that was the catalyst for me starting my business. So that will what I would want my legacy to be.
Well, it is going to be standing strong, Lisa. Thank you so much for sharing, for dropping some great gems on that. I'll be sure to share the freebies. Thank you again
Yes.
on behalf of the audience for that. And we enjoyed speaking with you and learning from you this evening.
Well, thank you
So,
for having me. Thank you.
yeah. Definitely been a pleasure. So that is going to be our Triple E podcast for this evening. If you have not subscribed to the channel, don't just date us. Make that commitment and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're alerted when we have the next episode. So it has been our privilege and our honor to help you to elevate, expand, and explore your mindset. Till the next episode. See you then.